So Pumpkin and I are up and at 'em before the sun's up. And when I used to do my TV show on Home and Garden Television, they said, "This is the best time to film, Gary. The lighting's really even. You need to show up at 5 a.m." What? For the finish shots when we were done. So anyway, whatever. The morning's beautiful though. You know, once you're out. Pumpkin and I are going to show you the anaconda of plants. You know what anacondas do, right? They swallow stuff. They swallow pretty big stuff. In fact, look on the internet. There's some pretty horrific pictures of humans that have been found in anacondas, or maybe pythons. I don't know, one of the two. But there's certainly some disturbing images, some disturbing things that have happened. It's not just pigs and deer. Occasionally, they get a person. Well, usually this plant that I'm going to refer to, it doesn't usually swallow people, but it swallows much larger things, entire buildings, like just overnight, it seems like. And so, so we're going to talk about that today. And that plant is my friend Bougainvillea. So Bougainvillea is native to Brazil, and it's a wonderful plant until it starts to swallow your building. This plant's been here for about 20 years, and one of the things about Bougainvillea is that it takes a little while to get established, and sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it's like really problematic. It has a very sensitive root system. So always remember when you're planting Bougainvillea, maybe just plant the whole plant, cut the bottom off and cut the sides off. Don't try to rip it out of the pot because it hates that. And in this case here, I planted a Bougainvillea on both sides. One died, one lived. The one that lived really decided to be happy. Then I thought, okay, what am I going to do? So I took a piece of rebar, see the piece of rebar, and I made an arch right here. I'm not sure what I'm going to do because this arch is getting kind of heavy. I'm going to have to maybe make another one, push it up harder or something. But you can still squeeze under it. I'm 6 foot, and I got about almost a foot of clearance. Look how beautiful it is when you're walking through. It's like you're surfing through a barrel of Bougainvillea. You know, it's like, imagine you're at Pipeline. You drop in, like, oh, I don't know if I'm going to make it. Oh, I made it. That's the POV of the breaking wave. I've never surfed a pipeline, I never will, but anyway, I can always dream. But I can pretend under a breaking wave of Bougainvillea. So anyway, so this plant, when it gets really hot, it gets super drought tolerant. Once it gets happy and going, it doesn't need any water at all. We have some water going on here. I turned the water on to water, but this was automatically on, so I have to turn that off. This garden here doesn't really need any water at all anymore. Once it starts really getting woody, it doesn't need any water whatsoever, and it continues to grow despite not getting any water. And has a very beautiful trunk right there. Well, let's go see what happens when, for a couple of years, I didn't trim it. Usually I keep it nice and trimmed, you know, like right there. But you can see it starts shooting out in all directions. And the more it shoots out, the more energy it gets from the sun because of photosynthesis, which gives it more energy. And it's like a giant snowball. If you keep the snowball small, it doesn't get out of hand. But if you let the snowball get really big, it just gets bigger and bigger and faster and faster and faster. And so let's go see what it's doing now. It's threatening to swallow our whole entire house. I've seen this happen on these old houses. Now I'm an old house. Now my house that I built myself is an old house. It's 21 years old. And look at this. Here it is. Doing its thing. It's hanging right there. way up into the king palms. It's climbing the king palms, and oh boy, look at that. Game on, baby. It sends these big giant tendrils up. These grow in the rainforests of Brazil up in the trees, and they use climbing hooks. I'll show you those. Oh, I can show them to you right here. Here's another branch that's trying to take over the world. But these are the climbing hooks. They're faced downward. The plant is growing in this direction, which would this be normally going up. Then it uses these things literally as climbing hooks to climb up anything and get going up there. Here it comes. This is gonna be a job just to cut this thing back. But let's go in the house and see what Bougainvillea looks like when it's trying to take over. It's kind of pretty. My wife's like, I love it. I'm like, yeah, you do now. While you still have a view. Pretty soon your only view will be Bougainvillea. So here it is. Isn't that pretty? Look at that. This is what she looks at when she's having fun in the kitchen. So it is quite beautiful. But I just want you to know, though, when you plant Bougainvillea, it's like there's a very fine line between the Bougainvillea succeeding and the Bougainvillea taking over. You have to surf that fine line. And I have to get out here and surf it this weekend. So this particular Bougainvillea is called Royal Robe. I bought it a long time ago, and I've never seen it for sale since. I do propagate this plant on occasion. In fact, I'm selling one to a customer who's been bugging me for like 6 months. I'm like, yeah, I got a few in my greenhouse. I just get so busy though that, sell one plant, Anyway, I felt bad. I finally found his old email and I'm like, hey, all right, let's do this. Let me go to the greenhouse and get this thing and bring it to the nursery. And he's super excited. But this particular Bougainvillea, it has a much larger, this is the actual flower in the middle. These are just bracts to show the bee where to go. They're sort of like leaves. But this has a much larger, it's a very cold hardy Bougainvillea because we're in zone 15 where we get some frost here. It's warm enough to grow king palms with a little bit of damage. But this has a particularly large, floral bract. And it also has extremely large tropical leaves, which are dark green and lush looking. And so this is a great variety, way more superior than the others. It's cold hardy, big tropical leaves, super aggressive. And like I said, enormous flower bracts. So, if you want yourself a relatively cold hardy Bougainvillea, Bougainvillea brasilensis is the most cold hardy variety. There's actually one in Europe I saw that's similar, but the problem is in Europe, the one in Europe, it was all over Croatia. It was the only one that was there. It might be more cold hardy than this. One in Croatia though, as soon as it blooms, the flower bracts stay on the plant and they don't fall and they're all brown, and it looks really, when it gets to that stage, it looks really kind of nasty. These just fall off while they're still nice. And so they litter the ground with this gorgeous, confetti material. And sometimes I have people doing weddings and they want to pick all these and then, scatter them all along the aisleway of where the bride's coming down the line. So, but anyway, yeah, we sell this Bougainvillea on occasion. Hopefully I'll propagate more. It just takes a little time and effort, but usually I have a few laying around. So let me know. It's just goldengatepalms.com. And my friend who also has a YouTube channel says, Gary, you got to say this. And I'm like, I seem so dumb. But I'll do it anyway. Subscribe to the channel. Hit the like button. Hit the all the buttons, whatever buttons there are. Don't hit the eject button. And then come on down to the nursery sometime. All right. That's all we have for you today.